All right, fifth graders, how are you? If you are watching this means I am not in class. But class is going to continue. So we are going to start a discussion about the atmosphere. Okay, so we're going to be kind of transitioning these next two classes. We're going to be discussing the atmosphere, what goes into the atmosphere, the parts of it, the layers, and we'll go from there. All right. So the first thing I want you to do is to please take out your science notebook. Take out your science notebook and put the date at it, whatever today's date is. So, like normal, I'm going to keep talking, but go ahead and pause this video whenever you need a pause. If you need time to write down the focus question, if you want to get down some of the notes down, go ahead and pause at your own liberty. Okay, I'm just going to keep talking as if I'm there, but pause this video if you need to get some information down, and then click play whenever you're ready to move on. Okay, so you're gonna put the title as focus question. So you have the date, and then I want you to write down focus question, and then I want you to write this focus question. It's gonna be the focus question is in yellow. What is Earth's atmosphere? What is Earth's atmosphere? So you're gonna write this focus question. Now I don't want you to answer right now, because we're going to talk about it, we're going to learn, we're going to do an investigation. But after, you're going to come back to this question and you're going to write your response to it. But for now, just write, all you need to do is write down the focus question. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to show you about 11 minutes of a video that kind of gives an introduction to the Earth's atmosphere. And we're going to watch that right now. I'm going to share my screen just like I'm doing. You'll watch it, and then we will continue with a discussion. Here we go.
Mission sequence start.
Any word from NASA about our mission?
Zip, zilch, nada, yet, no. What are you up to, Stanley?
Well, Malcolm, to be successful on any space mission, you have to know about the Earth's atmosphere. And the weather is a big part of that, so I'm checking out our local forecast.
Yeah? Well, the hot atmosphere in my suit is making my sweat glands work overtime.
Why don't you adjust the temperature gauge?
There's a temperature gauge? Oh.
If you're done, NASA has got to know that we're the most prepared candidates for any mission to study the Earth's atmosphere. So what's important to brush up on?
Hey, I got one. The atmosphere. Just what is it? Am I holding it here in my hands?
Why is our atmosphere important? How is it unique? What other planets have an atmosphere?
I've always wondered. How high does it go? How big is it?
These are good questions. I think I know some good places to look for the answers. Let's get started.
Air keeps us alive. Every day we breathe about 23,000 liters of it. Put it this way. This empty bottle is just 1 liter. So that means we breathe about 23,000 of these babies a day.
Air is going to be a tough topic to research. I mean, we can't see it, can't touch it.
Yeah, it's a tough one, but it's important to NASA, so it's important to us.
I guess you can smell air because right now, mine kind of smells like the garlic pizza I ate last night.
Malcolm, you've just covered the most basic point.
I did?
We don't have to see air to know it's there. Normally, we can't see it or feel it unless it's moving, cold, hot, or dirty. But it's there all the time, all around us.
Hey, just like millions of creatures live in the ocean, we live in a sea of air.
Excellent metaphor, my friend. In fact, this sea of air is a lot like the the ocean. It has currents and waves that flows all around the planet. This is our atmosphere. Air is a mixture of gases. The air in our atmosphere is made up of 78% nitrogen, 21% oxygen, and 1% other gases such as carbon dioxide. Nitrogen and oxygen.
All right, so now we're going to move on to the Earth's atmosphere.
You know, Malcolm, if our Earth was the size of an egg, then our atmosphere would only be about as thick as an eggshell.
Don't start with food analogies. I'm getting hungry again.
My point is that our atmosphere, as thin as it is, can still be broken down into 4 main layers.
Examples, please.
Okay, we live in the troposphere, the layer closest to Earth. The troposphere goes up about 12 kilometers, which is about 7 miles. All the Earth's weather occurs here. The next layer up is the stratosphere. At the very bottom of this layer are very strong winds that blow eastward. This is called the jet stream. When large planes fly from west to east, they often hop into the jet stream. That extra push of wind from behind allows them to fly faster.
Ooh.
Also in the stratosphere is the ozone layer. Ozone is a special kind of oxygen that absorbs most of the sun's harmful radiation, like ultraviolet rays, which cause sunburn.
Without the protection of the ozone layer, few living things could survive on Earth.
Scientists have discovered a hole in the ozone layer over the South Pole. They're concerned that certain chemicals such as chlorofluorocarbons, or CFCs, from aerosol sprays and refrigerators may have caused this.
Bummer.
If the hole gets any larger, that means more radiation will reach Earth, and there could be potential problems for the future. So it's really important for us all to keep our atmosphere healthy.
Important stuff. Okay, so you've got the troposphere and the stratosphere. Any other spheres?
Sure, the mesosphere, the next layer up. It's the coldest region of the atmosphere, around minus 100 degrees Celsius.
That's minus 148 degrees Fahrenheit.
Unmanned balloons are often sent up to measure the temperatures of this layer. The mesosphere protects Earth from large rock-like objects from space called meteoroids. When meteoroids enter, the friction between the meteoroid and the mesosphere causes most meteoroids to burn up.
Yow! Hot stuff!
All right, so that was a brief introduction to what the layers or parts of the atmosphere are, but we are going to dig deeper into them, learn more about them. Okay, so here we go. What is the atmosphere? As the video said, the Earth is surrounded by an atmosphere. Now, the atmosphere lies between Earth's surface, so the ground, and the vastness of space. So people and other living organisms, we live on Earth's surface, and as a result, we are surrounded by the atmosphere. The atmosphere is everything above us, pretty much. Now, you might ask yourself, what can you find in the atmosphere? Well, there are 5 layers of the atmosphere that we're going to talk about. And they briefly talked about them in the video. The 5 layers are the troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere, and exosphere. Each of these layers are different due to the properties of the gas that can be found at each elevation. So each layer of the atmosphere has a different temperature. The air density is different up there. So basically, most of the layers of the atmosphere all differ based on the qualities and properties of the air that is up there. So, first phase, this is the most important phase to us as humans because we live here, and this is the troposphere. Okay, now you see a picture right here. This shows the first 4 layers, and you can see when we're talking about the troposphere, how really small it is. And that's because Earth's troposphere extends from the Earth's surface to on average about 15 kilometers into the sky. Okay, so from the ground, from Earth's surface to about 15 kilometers in the sky, this is where the troposphere is found. Now, the troposphere is the most complex part of the atmosphere because although it only represents about 2% of the entire atmosphere, you can see that this little small, you know what, I'll go to this picture right here. You can see how small it is compared to the stratosphere as far as the area or the amount that the troposphere occupies. But although it represents about 2% of the entire atmosphere, about 80% of Earth's air is found in the troposphere. So it may be small, but most of the air is found here. And because most of the air is found in the troposphere, that means that most of the weather conditions, all the weather that happens that we see on Earth, take place in the troposphere. So, important facts, 2%, troposphere only represents 2% of the entire atmosphere, but 80% of the Earth's air is found in the troposphere. Next slide, please. What's next? Well, what comes after the troposphere is the stratosphere. Okay, so right over here, you can see that right after the troposphere is the stratosphere, and that is approximately from 15 kilometers off of Earth's surface to, on average, about 50 kilometers above Earth's atmosphere. Now, the most important contributing factor of the stratosphere is that in this layer we can find the ozone layer. Many of you have heard about protecting the ozone, and our ozone is diminishing. And what that means is that the ozone layer protects us from the sun's ultraviolet radiation, meaning a lot of chemicals and heat are coming off the Earth. And because of that UV radiation, the higher up you go into the stratosphere, the warmer the temperature will become. But the ozone layer kind of protects us from all the intense heat and keeps all that heat from penetrating the Earth's surface. So that's one of the benefits of the ozone layer, which is found in the stratosphere. From the stratosphere, we're going to dive into the mesosphere. It is this green portion right here. And the mesosphere is about 50 kilometers, is on average starts at 50 kilometers off of Earth's surface, all the way up to 85 kilometers above Earth's surface. As we go up in altitude and height off the Earth's surface, we're going to see that the temperature in the air starts to gradually become colder. In fact, the top of the mesosphere is the coldest place found in Earth. So between 50 to 85 kilometers, this will be the coldest region of Earth. Now, while there's not much air found in the mesosphere, there is enough air that creates friction, which then leads to causing meteors to burn in this atmosphere's layer. So when you see meteor showers, they started burning up and catching on fire in the mesosphere. So that's kind of a fun fact. Mesosphere, third layer of Earth's atmosphere. Next, we're going to have the thermosphere. Okay, the thermosphere is starts at about 85 kilometers off of Earth's surface to about 560 kilometers off of Earth's surface. Now, I know that it makes kind of weird to say that temperatures in this layer are hotter because there's not much air, because we just said that the region below it in the mesosphere was the coldest. So if that's the coldest, then how could the thermosphere be the hottest? And it just has to do with the contents of the air and the air qualities and properties that are in this layer of the atmosphere. Also in the thermosphere, from time to time, you will see the aurora borealis, which can be seen here. And this is a picture of the aurora borealis. So it starts here. Now, the colors of this aurora borealis do kind of travel through the different layers of the atmosphere, but it can originate in the thermosphere. Also, another fun fact, the International Space Station orbits in the thermosphere, this part of the atmosphere. What about the exosphere? Well, the exosphere starts at about 560 kilometers off of Earth's surface The exosphere is the highest layer of Earth's atmosphere. The exosphere is where we will start to see the transition between Earth's atmosphere and outer space, where the aliens are. So it is the highest level right here at the very top of Earth's atmosphere is the exosphere. Okay, so those were some key information about the different layers of the atmosphere. Hopefully you have some notes. Now we're going to do a scavenger hunt. So hopefully what you're doing right now is you're turning to a new page. You're going to put the date as well. And why don't we label this Atmosphere Scavenger Hunt. Atmosphere Scavenger Hunt. So go ahead and you'll see at the bottom Hubble Space Telescope, orbit of the Space Shuttle, color display of Aurora Borealis, meteors burning, small jets. I want you to write down these 5 different objects. These are all found in different parts of the atmosphere. It can be in different layers: a thermosphere, troposphere, mesosphere. I know the answers, but now it's time for you to find this. So what I want you to do is, using your computer, conduct a little research. You're going to search the internet, okay? Try and find where in Earth's atmosphere these objects can be found. Where can you find the Hubble Space Telescope? Is it found in the exosphere? Is it in the troposphere? You're going to have to do some research. Then you're just going to write the answer next to it. Okay? That's what you're going to do for all 5 of these objects. We have an example of the Hubble Space Telescope, a meteor burning, picture of the Aurora Borealis. Okay, question time. This is your next step. Okay, so we're going to actually pause here. And this will be part 2 of your lesson when we pick up here.